alternative sentence. Then the jury then has to go back and pick death or the alternative sentence. Well, here's this guy who's been claiming to have a very special and profound relationship with God, and he sees what has happened his whole life. He knows that he's facing the death sentence, so what's his alternative? He's got a very interesting alternative sentence. And, let me talk about, just for a moment or two, about an interesting building in Athens. There's a building called the Prytaneum. It's up there in the Acropolis. And when visiting royalty come to Athens, they can be lodged there for 24 hours, and then they have to get their own quarters. And men who have won the four-in-hand, the chariot races 3 times, they can get the Prytaneum for 12 hours. So Socrates considers the quarters and kinds of things he's going to have to worry about in his life. Then if I must estimate the just penalty according to my deserts, this is my estimate. Free room and board for the rest of his life. And he was known for throwing parties. They had many a party where everyone got smashed and drunk, and he walked away sober after talking all night. So people knew pretty well about this gentleman, Socrates. So they get the sentence goes back, and guess which one they chose? Of course, they chose death. Because imagine having that guy in the Blair House in Washington, D.C. for the rest of your life, right? Now, would you agree? Now, this is extremely funny, right? Isn't it? I hope it is. See, this is comedy. The other is tragedy. There's a tragic comedy theme between Jesus and Socrates. On a human side, this whole story is comic. It's really comic. But yet, another way it isn't. It's philosophic. So it leaves us with a rather curious puzzle. What is the relationship between philosophy, comedy, and tragedy? Now, the Greek world were absorbed in this question. In a town of 40,000 people, they would build a stadium for 20,000 people. I mean, regularly, wherever they went, they built stadiums so that they could produce these great plays, and the plays were tragedies. They wouldn't go for one. They'd go for a trilogy. Now, we go for one. They go for 3. But they went for 4. Because between the first, the third, the end, the conclusion of the trilogy, they'd stick in a satyr play. A satyr play dealing with man in its most comic aspects, most often associated with sex. And therefore, they saw tragedy and comedy. They went to these kinds of things again and again. And in the midst of this comes dear old Socrates, right? What is he? He's a combination of both in a strange way. There's something comic about the man. You can't help but laugh at him every once in a while. And on the other side, there's nothing comic about Jesus. I mean, there isn't anyone that even looks like they're going to break into a laugh in the whole story. So you have a tragic dimension and a comic dimension, yet both are related to God in a very interesting and profound way. And in the one, man feels forsaken by God, and the other one, Socrates, yeah, well, it's my job. Right? Got a good job. But he has one other aspect of it, and that is Socrates believes, if we follow the Republic, that what he is starting through dialogues, and dialogues are open and exoteric, and many of them now are, through Plato, a part of our tradition, that let this be a line, this is time, or the flow of events. According to Socrates, some people can drop into this a seed. This is a different sower and seed model. This is, if you can get people caught into an idea, a profound idea, the more profound, of course, the better, then this has a life, and it continues, and the people who are around discussing it will be reborn again and again and again to return to this basic idea, which was the subject of a dialogue. That is to say, the universe has an intelligible nature in which, once one of these profound dialogues start, it proceeds through time. People that are introduced to it come back again and again and again to pick up another piece of it as much as they can until they can then go on and carry the entire dialogue to its conclusion. Because we ourselves have basic seed-like ideas within us that we've picked up, and we play them out in patterns. And you know what? What if it turns out that we have to be reborn again and again until we get insights into the habits that destroy us? If so, it's very similar to what Socrates is saying in the Republic. This is his idea in the Republic. See, he drops seeds and he says, you know what's going to happen to you guys? You're going to come back again and again until you finish this dialogue. So here's a sower and a seed. It's a little different. Isn't he funny? I mean, can't you help but laugh at the guy? I mean, Socrates is really laughable, isn't he? Coming out and saying things like that. But it's true. It may be true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, very, very curious, isn't it? And they're both after understanding. They're both after understanding. Socrates is going to try to bring them through dialogues, right? Open dialogues, exploring ideas, going to the roots, going to the sources of them. Jesus is going through understanding through parables and looking at his whole life. One is esoteric, one is exoteric. One ends forsaken, the other one ends with a smile. Jesus is in a tradition, Socrates is in a tradition. They both see that. They both see they're playing a role in time, significant, and it's unfolding. And there is a kind of recent theories about the origin of the Gospel of Mark from what is called Q. That is to say, they hypothesize a body of work called Q, with the sayings of Jesus. Pardon me. And they give it a tentative date of 50 AD and form